you go. All right, so let's just take a moment to close your eyes and ground yourself. So some shoulders, maybe you want to give them a good squeeze up toward your ears and then release them down on your exhale, or anything else that's wiggles or sways in your body that would feel comfortable to help you just be at ease in your body. Sometimes it's hard to just plant yourself down right to a seated position. Sense into where you're touching the ground and feel that connection. And imagine those deep roots and just send down some tap roots. Give yourself into the length of your spine. Feel a opening across your heart. Feel that stability of your shoulder blades sliding down and kind of being like hands on your back to support the open heart. Notice if your head wants to tilt forward or drop down or lift up or tip sideways. See if you can find that neutral where your head is just resting very gently on your spine. Relax through the muscles of your face and your skull and your neck and your shoulders and just about everywhere else. Come into your breath. And just notice that beautiful tide of the rising inhale and the falling exhale. Something just as simple as paying attention and steadying your breath is such an anchor point that's available any moment that we need it. Bring your hands together at your heart and offer an intention here. Let's release your hands and find your way to come onto your back. All right, so take a moment as you rest on your back where you feel that sense of just being able to let your whole body drop down toward the ground. Stretch your arms overhead and enjoy some lengthening, maybe reaching one arm, reaching the other, and just find that beautiful sense of spaciousness. Let your breath fill up your spaciousness. All right, and then draw your knees into your chest and a little bit of rocking, maybe a little swaying to and fro. Okay. Let's open the knees away from the middle and bring them back in toward the middle and just enjoy that sensing of your hip joints. All right, right knee into your chest, left leg long on the ground, and let's do some circling of your ankles. Feel into the freedom of your feet. Again, have a little blessing for your feet, for carrying you throughout your day. Give that right knee a good squeeze, and we're going to cross the right knee over to the left. Stretch your right arm out, turn your head right, and just let a twist happen. Feel free to move a little bit within this or to be very still. And come back, draw that knee and pick up your head, a little snug hug into that knee, and then release your head down, switch sides, left knee into your chest, right leg long on the ground, and let's move around in your ankles and feet again. Rolling around, seeing what wants to wiggle. Keep your head neutral and relaxed, soften your shoulders. And then grab onto that left knee, cross it over to the right a little bit or a lot, just kind of see how far you want to go. Open up into your left side of your chest, turn your head and breathe. And then draw that knee into your chest. Pick up your head and give it a good squeeze. And then open your body to a star, reaching your limbs wide on the ground. Exhale, drawing your knees in, snug little ball. One more time, expanding through your limbs. Exhale, drawing in. All right, relax your head down. Grab onto your feet, a little bit of a happy baby pose. Be very gentle. You don't have to pull your knees all the way down. Just kind of open up your spine and feel free to rock a little bit left and right if you'd like. You can even open up one leg and straighten it if you like, and then rock to the other side and straighten that leg. Whatever kind of movement feels nice for you to just wake up those hips and legs a little bit more in your back. And then release your legs down. Cross your right thigh over your left thigh and draw your knees in toward your chest. And again, do you want movement? Do you want stillness? Sometimes I like just little pulsings, sometimes rocking, sometimes circling, sometimes nothing, just stillness and compression. See what your body wants. Inhale, reach those legs straight up in the air. Bring your arms overhead. Start to ignite your core a little bit. Stabilize, let your ribs draw down toward the ground. Let's flex and point our toes while they're up here in the air. Feel your breath. And then put your left thigh over your right thigh. Draw your knees to your chest. Hang on with your hands to somewhere on your shins or knees. And again, do you want stillness? Do you want movement? Just saying a little hello to your hip joints and to your hip, your outer hip muscles, your glutes. And then one more time, arms up, legs up. Bring your hands straight up toward the sky. Knit your ribs down toward the ground. Let's flex and point your toes one more time. We're going to open up the legs wide, reach your arms through and stabilize your core a little bit. Let's do that twice more. Head drops down. On your exhale, lift up and through. Inhale down, exhale up. All right, and then bring your knees back into your chest. A little bit of rocking. Hang on to your knees and circle your knees one direction. And then circle them another direction. Okay, let's bring this warm up into our spine now. Roll to your side and come up to your hands and your knees. And as you find your way onto all fours, let's start some cat-cows. All right, so feeling that rounding of your spine, the arching of your spine, and saying hello to your vertebrae and to your pelvis and maybe to your shoulder blades. Maybe your neck is finding its full flexion and extension too. Breathing deeply. All right, and then feel free to wag your tail, to circle through your hips, to roll around, to just experience whatever kind of movement you want in your body. Remember to breathe. And then stretch all the way back toward a child's pose. When you feel ready, walk those hands far out in front of you. Feel that big stretch through your lats and your shoulders. Fill up your breath and empty it out. Walk the hands over to one side or the other and open up your side body. Take advantage of all this space to breathe. Check in with your neck, let it relax. And then over to the other side, stretching and lengthening, dropping your hips down. Come back to center, up onto all fours. Wag and wiggle if you want. And let's take a twist. One arm all the way up in the air. Exhale, drop that shoulder down. Twisting to the side, breathing deeply. And then reach that arm back up in the air, hand down onto the ground. Let's switch sides again. Arm up, bring that arm through. Gaze toward the floor, soft neck, full breaths. Now, bring that arm all the way back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground. Let's find a dog pose. All right, so as you push yourself up off the ground, now we get our whole body to find its way here. So how do you like to enter into dog pose? Sometimes I like to kind of knead my hands and feet and find the ground first. Sometimes I like to bounce or sway or pedal. Sometimes I just like to drop my head and feel that full sink toward the earth. Sometimes a stretch is needed first to just kind of explore all the various ways that this pose shows up in awareness. Take your time and do your thing. You know, how do you like to enter this first kind of standing pose? And yield, give yourself to the earth, push, reach in your body. And then let's walk our feet forward and come to Uttanasana. Deep forward fold, let your head dangle. Feel free to do the same. Do you want to shimmy? Do you want to bounce? Do you want to sway? Do you want to be still? Soften through your skull as best as you can. When you're ready for a halfway lift, extend open here. Feel that reaching of your heart with your hands on blocks. Let's pedal your feet here. Drop one heel and stick that hip way back, and then do the other side. Opposite knee bends. I'm just gonna opening up your legs. Sometimes I like to rock my feet in this, where I drop weight into my heel of the straightened leg and lift my toes. So I'm actually rocking on my feet too. Just see what your body likes. Let your practice kind of be exploratory and curious. All right, and then bend your knees and soften again. Let your head fall. Push through your feet and rise all the way up. Bringing the arms to the sky, feeling that extension. Open heart, cactus open if you can. Feel the spreading of your wings. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Exhale, round in, forearms to touch. Okay, one more time. Arms up. Let's cactus broadly. And then exhale and round in. Okay. Reach the arms all the way up. Press your, interlace your fingers. Press your palms straight up toward the sky. Reaching one arm over, so we have that side body stretch. And back to the other side. And we're going to add some legs into this in just a moment. So come back up. We're going to cross your left thigh in front of your right thigh. And reach up again and over to the right. See what that feels like? Stay here and reach up to the other side. Just slight little stretch in your hips. Change the cross of your legs. Change the cross of your fingers. Palms up. Let's go over to the left. And then come on up and over to the right. And then come back and relax your arms. Give your hands a little bit of a shake. And then I just want you to bounce. Don't worry if your joints are not happy with bouncing. Slow it down or subtle it up. See what's available to bounce. You can even jump if you're feeling very adventurous. Okay, but you don't have to jump. Sometimes just a simple bouncing in whatever way feels good for your joints is such a beautiful way to have compression and decompression in our spine, to move our lymph and our blood, to get our heart going up just a little bit, to get our nervous system to have a lot of proprioception. Big breaths. All right, and then pause here for a moment. Just notice. Feel your ground. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel the fullness of your breath. All right, and then we can take our feet a little wider or neutral, hip width apart, whatever feels comfortable for you. We've all done this lots, just kind of finding our way into some twisting here. So just letting your body find that rocking. Start with your hands just falling onto your body, and we'll move outward in just a moment. Notice your breath. Notice the kind of compression around your spine and your ribs as you twist. Okay. All right, now swing your arms out. Let your hips move, let your feet move. Pick up your heel and turn your foot with your body. Change, maybe your arms come up a little higher. Seems such a simple thing to do, but it really is so good for our mobility, for everything I just said about your lymph, your breath, your spine. And then take your legs a little bit wider, so turn sideways on your mat. And we're gonna keep going with this fight. So maybe a little bit of squatting, a little bit of arms overhead, just kind of warming up the body. You can swing your arms out. You can drape your arms down. And then we're all gonna end in a deep, wide squat. Elbows inside your knees, ground the four corners of your feet. And again, if you're still into the pulsing movement vibe, you can pulse a few times of dropping your hips and lifting them up just a little bit. All right, and then inhale and come all the way up, standing star. Find your breath. Turn your right foot out, and we'll find our way into a Parsva Konasana. Elbow on your knee, stretch your arm over your head, and feel the real beauty of that open side body. Drop weight into your feet. Open up across your heart. Feel that beautiful combination of groundedness and spaciousness. Yeah, let's come on up and turn your feet the other way, finding your way into a Parsva Konasana on this side. Elbow on your knee, open up. Now notice our pace has slowed. We're no longer rocking. We're no longer swinging. We're no longer bouncing. We're just in stillness now. So notice the shifting. Drop some weight into your feet. Pay attention to the slow rhythm of your breath. Try to slow the breath down, even if it's just a millimeter slower, just a teeny bit slower, millisecond slower. Spread your toes, feel that grounding. Shoulders away from the ears, try not to turtleneck your ears. And come all the way back up to stand. Wide legs again, this time straight legs. Bring your hands down toward the ground. Let your head fall toward the earth, the wide-legged stance. You can always have hands on blocks for this and where we're going if you need. You can always have your hands on the ground. We're going to bend into our right knee. Keep your left foot fully on the ground for a moment. And then come back up and go the other way. Left foot grounding, right foot is still fully on the earth. And then we're going to go a little deeper into that. And this is where you might need blocks. We're going to lift your left foot up off, or toes off the ground. So just the heels down. Come into a squat on that right side. Lift your heart. Open up through the inner groin of that left leg. Feel the expansion through your heart here. And then we'll slide over to the other side, coming into a deep squat in this knee. And of course, wherever your body goes, if you don't deep squat with a knee, that's okay. Toes are up on that right foot, heels down, extend your heart. And come back to a deep, wide squat like where we began. Elbows inside your knees. Ground through your feet well. And then inhale and come all the way up to stand. Standing star. Let's slow the pace down super slow. As we exhale, we drop down toward a goddess. Feel that grounding in your legs. And as you inhale, nice and slow and steady, arms back up, legs straighten. So I'm talking, so my breath is weird, but for you, this pace might be where I'm at. This pace might be faster. It could be slower. Just follow what's happening in your breath pattern. Few times of just dropping down. And maybe you prefer to inhale where I prefer to exhale. It doesn't really matter. Just link up a sense of movement to your breath so that your breath is your guide. All right, this next time we're just going to pause right down here in a goddess, and then we're going to flow. Okay, so you can take your arms over to one side, over to the other. You can come out of the squat and back in, so you're kind of doing more of a circle. Anything that feels good. You can sweep down low, finding breath. Notice how strong your legs are to support you. There's no right or wrong way to be in this posture. And we'll all stand for a standing star. Find your breath. Feel how grounded your feet feel. Heel toe your feet in and come to stand. That was a lot of just deep grounding work. So just notice when you stand in Tadasana, if there's a comfort with the ground. All right, let's turn back to the front of our mat. Let's inhale, reach the arms up, feel that beautiful open heart, and exhale and float forward. Relax your spine. Inhale for a halfway lift. Maybe open up onto some blocks with your hands. Exhale, folding deeply. Step your left foot back, come to a lunge. Let's place the back knee down onto the ground. You can uncurl your toes or leave them curled. You can have a little extra padding underneath your knee. And of course, you can keep your knee up too if this is too much on your knee. Ground through your legs. Let's inhale. Reach that arm up. Stretch through those hip flexors. And let's turn this into a twist. Forearm on your knee, twisting to the side. Hug to the midline, find that stability, drop the shoulders, open the collarbones. And come back to neutral. All right, come out of the pose and come to child's pose for a moment and just feel your legs compress deeply. Maybe your hands are still on those blocks, maybe they're on the ground. When you're ready, let's switch to the other side. Back up on all fours. Now our left foot is going to come in front. Right knee is on the ground. Root into your feet well. Or foot, I should say. Let's reach that right arm up in the air. Your other hand can be on a block or on your leg. Extend, maybe a little bit of a side body stretch if you like. And then we'll cross over and take our forearm or our elbow on the knee. Other hand can hold onto the thigh to help you push and lift through your spine. Fill and empty your breath. Ground into your legs. Come back around to a lunge. Let's bring our hands down onto the ground and come back to a dog pose. Look how much you've done between two dog poses. So Let's just enjoy this kind of coming home inversion feeling. Root to rise. And let's come forward into a plank and find yourself here. His shoulder blades down. Push the ground evenly through the four corners of your hands. Breathing deeply. And we'll put our knees down onto the ground and find the earth. Roll the shoulders. Inhale for a cobra pose. Chest open and big. Exhale, melting back down. Okay. One more time, opening up. Exhale, relaxing back down. Come up onto all fours, swish around in your spine, and then come back to a child's pose again and feel that compression and depth in your hip joints. Breathe along your spine. Doesn't it feel good to move your body? You know, even if everything's not accessible or you need to slow down or, pause and do different things to modify, notice how beautiful it is to just move your body. Okay, let's lift up to a dog pose when you're ready. Opening up, maybe some pedaling of your feet if you want, maybe stillness. And let's all seek a moment of just grounding. Lift your right leg up in the air. Let's stack open the right hip so you feel that stretch across your hip. Square things up again. Reach that leg strongly in the air. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, knee to your chest, shoulders over wrists. We're going to do this 3 times. Each a little different position. Reach that leg back up. Exhale, knee to the outer elbow. Bring it back up. Now knee to the inner opposite elbow. Bring it back up. Place your foot down onto the ground. Let's switch sides. Take a break if you need. We'll lift that leg in the air, left leg high, and then stack open. You can always bend your knee or straighten it, whatever feels good. Breathing deeply. And square things up again. Deep breath. Exhale, knee to your chest. Inhale, bring it on back. Exhale, knee to your outer left elbow. Inhale, bring it back. Let's cross it over. Shoulders over wrists. Bringing it back up. Foot down onto the ground. Walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana and relax. Let your neck dangle. Inhale for a halfway lift. Relax here, folding deeply. Grab onto the base of your skull with your hands and just have a little bit of weighted tug. Let the back body open. All right, release your hands, touch your toes together, and let's find a chair pose. So as you drop down, maybe your arms want to lift up. Maybe you prefer to have your arms wide or down at your sides or palms to your heart or anywhere else. Draw your knees back into your hips. Ignite your hamstrings and your glutes. Push into the ground. Relax the base of your skull. We're going to come all the way up onto our toes. Practice the art of toe walking, not walking, but toe standing. Exhale, heels down, palms together for a chair. Push like you want to stand up, just ignite those back legs. And then one more time, come up onto your toes. Maybe you want to lift your arms overhead. And then place your heels down on the ground. And again, pause for a Tadasana. Notice your breathing. We're doing a lot of movings. Just pay attention to stillness now. Notice your heart beating. Notice your breath moving in and out. Notice where you might feel a little fatigue or a little awareness that's new. Step our left foot back, our right foot's coming in the front. Lift your heel up off the ground unless you need stability, in which case, put your back heel down onto the ground. Crescent lunge. Can you believe it's taken us this long to get to this pose? Reach the arms up in the air. Enjoy. It's such an open front body pose, open heart, open hip. See what this does for your sense of joy for the day. Can you bring some joy into the heart? Okay, interlace your hands behind your back. Open up across the fronts of the shoulders. Hug the shoulder blades toward each other. Stabilize your core. Try not to crunch the low back. And then release your torso forward. And release your hands down. Step back to a dog. Full breaths. Switching sides, left leg lifting up. Bring it through to a lunge. Hands on blocks to begin if you want, getting your stability. And then we'll inhale and rise all the way up. Ribs in. See what it feels like to have both the deep groundedness of this pose and also the expansiveness of this pose. Relax the base of the skull. If you feel ready, let's interlace the hands the opposite way. Open up your shoulders. Be very mindful of your low back. Try not to compress. Use your core, knit your ribs in, use your legs. You can even bend your back knee a little bit more if need be. All right, and then release the hands. Bring your knees down one more time. Child's pose. So notice this pattern of we move a lot and then we find a pose that's still. Notice your spine breathing. Breathe all the way down to your tail. And then we're going to slide forward, come onto our belly, and come into a Sphinx pose. Let's open up across the front of the body, shoulders down, away from the ears, stretch your legs. All right, and then relax. Your right forearm comes down onto the ground. Left hand reaches back to grab your left foot. You can always use a strap if you can't reach your foot. Stay low for a moment before we come up and just notice your position. Is your left knee staying in line with your left hip? Can you open up across your quad and stabilize your pelvis? Tailbone moves toward your knees, pubic bone toward the navel. And then once you get the pelvis stable, push into your forearm, lift up a little bit more, and just see what changes, what opens up. And then relax and melt that down. And let's switch sides. Forearm, left forearm, right hand grabs onto your right heel. Stabilize your pelvis. Stay low with your torso to begin. And then once you feel like your quads opening and your pelvis is stable, lift up a little bit. And relax. Put your head on your hands and windshield wiper your knees. So you have a choice for the back bend you always have a choice of anything and everything. But if we haven't done this pose in a long time, if you can, turn your hands onto your feet. This is hard for me, which is why I haven't taught it, because my shoulder doesn't like to do this. I'll demonstrate with my right arm. You can do this with one hand. You can have your forearm onto the ground and your elbow swings up and your palm is on your top of your foot and your fingers kind of roll over your toes. So I'm going to do it one-sided because that's what my shoulder can manage, but you can do this at the same time, frog pose. And if you're doing the other one side, let's switch. Grab onto the top of that foot. The best way to start is to have your palm on the top of your foot and then turn your fingers outward to bring them forward. Elbow lifts up. So this is stretching your shoulder as much as it is in your foot and quads. Remember to stabilize your pelvis. All right, relax that. And come back down all the way, head on hands, and windshield wiper your knees. All right, so hopefully that opened your shoulders up. We're gonna grab onto our feet, okay? Now, if you don't want to do this pose, flip over and do a bridge, which is where we're all going next. Grab onto your feet, inhale, and lift up. Knees in line with hips. Open up your shoulders. Full breaths. And then relax to come out of there. Come up onto all fours and shimmy around in your spine. You can wag your tail, you can do a cat-cow, whatever releases back bends. Try not to go right into a child's pose, but twist or sway or swish before going into a deep forward fold. Okay, last back bend. We're gonna come on to our back. And of course, always, this pose can be modified. You can do this passively if you'd like, and put a block underneath your pelvis, or you can do it actively to really heighten the shoulder opening of this pose. All right, so ground into your feet. I'll cue the active version, but you can always put a block underneath you. We'll lift up our hips and rock onto the tops of your shoulders. You can either interlace your hands under your back or press your arms down into the ground, palms facing up, spread your palms. Root your four corners of your feet and open up across your shoulders. Keep your neck neutral. Ground through the four corners of your feet. Ground through the backs of your arms and hands. And then let's slowly lower your pelvis down. Rest here a moment. And then when you're ready, windshield wiper your knees. Twists before forward folds after back bends. Okay. All right, lift your hips and scoot them to the right. Bring your knees up and drop them to the left. Open up into a full twist here. Breathing well. Up your knees, scoot them over to the other side, hips over to the other side, and then drop your knees. Enjoy the twisting in your body. Turn your head. And come back up. And put your feet on the ground or lie flat. We'll have another moment of still posture. I'm going to knock my knees together, but you can do anything that you want. Feel your way into your breath. Melt your body like Shavasana. And then we'll roll to our side and come up. Come to sit on the edge of a blanket. You'll need a strap and a block possibly. All right, so first just crisscross your legs, crisscross applesauce. And notice, are you on enough height? Is the blanket underneath you enough to keep that neutral spine? And we'll find another twist here. So hand behind your back, reach the arm up and bring your hand to the outside of your knee. A simple twist. Back. Other arm up. Bring the hand to the outside of the knee. Twisting here. And back to center. And we didn't do as much hamstring stretching in the beginning of class as we normally did. So now let's kind of tend to our hamstrings and our glutes here. We'll take Janu Sirsasana. The right leg is straight. Your left foot is against your right leg, and you can always stick a block underneath your knee if your knee needs a little support. Okay. Grab your strap and wrap it around your foot. If you don't have a strap, that's okay. You can put your hands on the ground. And we're going to lift up and find that neutral curve in your lumbar spine. Keep that neutral curve in your lumbar spine as you lengthen your heart forward. Sometimes I like to take the strap only into my left hand and keep my right hand next to my right leg to kind of push to help me give a lift to my spine, a little support for my spine. So you do you, see what feels good in this posture. As you go deeper in the pose, notice, are you supporting your low back enough? Is your core engaged? Do you have a slight twist in your spine so that you're facing toward your straight leg? Lift that leg, your torso back up. We're going to lift the leg up and bring it out to the side. And we've already done a lot of openness of our inner thighs early on in class. So let's rely on that as we stretch open here to the side. Imagine a sandbag. If you have a sandbag, put it on the top of your left thigh. So you can really open up into those deep low back muscles. That quadratus lumborum gets a really good stretch on this side. You can either have your arm up overhead, or maybe you want to press on your thigh. Just see what gives you a sense of where you want to be in this stretch. Back up, and let's bring that foot forward. Switching sides. Our left leg is straight out. Adjust if you need to on that blanket that you're sitting on. Take a moment to be aware of that curve in your lumbar spine again. So nice neutral curve. We're not rolling back. Bring your heart and lift it and bring it forward, slow and steady. Remember, you can always have one hand on the ground to support that lift of your spine if you prefer. Always there could be a block under your knee if your knee needs a little help in this position. Feel extending. Lift your spine out of your pelvis instead of sinking down. Root the femur bone into the earth. Flex your toes. Back up. Notice these postures. Sometimes these deep forward folds can be very tricky for people's backs. So notice if you have any vulnerability there. Open your leg out to the side. And then again, you can have your hand on your femur bone, or you can stretch your arm overhead. See what feels best for your body. Breathing deeply. Come back to center. Bring that leg forward. 2 legs in the strap. Paschimottanasana. Be very mindful to not go too deep in this pose. Start with your feet. Flex them, spread them, lift your heart, and come forward only to the place where that neutral low back can be intact, where the lift of your spine is happening, where the femurs can root and the shoulders can relax. To get more out of the back body stretch, tuck your chin, but don't collapse. That posture. Okay. Bring your legs in. Soles of the feet are going to be together. So a wide Baddha Konasana, so our feet are farther away from our pubic bone. We're not right up against. Lengthen through your spine one more time. So we're not rounding and falling. We're keeping that neutral curve. We're reaching forward with our heart. Elbows can press onto the knees to give some depth to this stretch. Breathing well. All right, let's go ahead and come out. We're going to come into Supta Baddha Konasana. But before that, when you lie down on your back, kind of ask your body, are you okay? Do you need a happy baby pose or a little twisting? Sometimes those forward folds can be a little trying. You might even need a bridge pose on a low block for a moment. So just kind of experiment and see what your body needs. And then when you're ready, decide how you want your Supta Baddha Konasana to be. You could be flat on the ground with a block underneath each knee. You could have your blocks in heart bench, one block under your head, one block underneath your heart, and then maybe a blanket or 2 underneath your knees. You could put a bolster on top of those blocks if you have one. So just kind of experiment with the variation that you're in the mood to do today for Supta Baddha Konasana. All right, so many ways of just using the props that you have at your disposal. And again, before you take this pose, have a moment to decide whether, you know, your body needs a little bit of nourishing with some happy baby or twists. Now, this is going to lead us towards Shavasana. So remember all the things about staying warm and staying comfortable. Okay. So are there lights on you? Are there random things kind of touching you that you'd like to move? Is there some adjustment that you need in your props? Just take a moment to give yourself your best chance of finding some deep rest in this posture. And once you're here, after a few breaths, notice, oh, I really need to move the block down, or oh, my hip needs a little more support. So if something needs to change, change it. And if nothing needs to change, let's just melt. See what you can do to drop your body. To bring yourself more fully into your breathing. Whenever you're ready to make a transition. Usually after this posture, especially if you've been up on some support, it's nice to lie flat and do a happy baby, a little rocking, a little twisting, whatever kind of nourishment your body needs. And again, if you haven't gotten yourself fully warm, take some time to make sure that you have enough for comfort for Shavasana. So take your time transitioning. Maybe you're the type of person that all you need to do is straighten your legs and you're happy as a clam. And maybe you need some other poses before Shavasana. Allow your body to eventually come to a place where you can rest comfortably, where everything feels supported. And then you drop your body weight down into the ground. Notice what can be dropped a little bit more. Where can you surrender? Feed yourself good breathing. Deepen our breathing. Have a big stretch in your body if you'd like. Move very slowly. Okay. Remember that we have this balance of movement and stillness. So that even as you start to move, can you embed it within that feeling of stillness? Maybe have a moment on your side before sitting up. And when you come to a comfortable posture, just take a moment to feel your breath. Let's bring our hands together. And offer your gifts of your practice, the sense of openness and presence that you cultivate. Let's share. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. This.